In our modern lives, many people believe that being busy is the same as being valuable. We rush from one task to another, always trying to do more, to fill every moment with action. There is a strong feeling that if we are not busy, then something is wrong. This constant pressure to stay active becomes like a heavy weight that we carry on our shoulders. When every day is filled with endless activities, our hearts become tired. We lose the ability to simply rest, to breathe, and to be present in the moment. Busyness may give us the illusion of importance, but deep inside, it can make us feel empty. It is like drinking salty water when we are thirsty. The more we drink, the more our thirst grows. This busyness also creates distance from the people we love. When our minds are always thinking about the next task, we are not truly with those around us. Even when sitting at the same table, our hearts may be far away. In this way, busyness steals not only our peace, but also our connection with others. To recognize this weight is the first step. We do not need to judge ourselves harshly for being busy. We only need to see clearly that always doing more does not always bring more meaning. Sometimes it takes courage to stop, to put down the heavy load, and to see that life does not become smaller when we do less. Instead, it becomes lighter and more open. The weight of constant busyness is something many of us share. By noticing it, we begin to understand that there is another way to live, one that brings greater peace and quiet joy. When we begin to step away from constant busyness, we start to notice the quiet beauty of simplicity. Simplicity does not mean having nothing or doing nothing. It means seeing clearly what is truly important and letting go of what is not. In this way, life becomes more gentle and easier to carry. Think of a small room with only a few things inside. Because there is space, the things that remain can shine more brightly. In the same way, when we allow our days to have space, the experiences we choose to keep become more precious. A simple meal, a short walk, or a calm conversation can bring us a joy that is deep and lasting. Simplicity also helps us to hear the quiet voice of life. When there is too much noise or too many tasks, we cannot notice the small wonders around us. But when life becomes simpler, we see the soft light of morning, the sound of birds, or the smile of a friend. These small moments become treasures, not because they are rare, but because we finally have the eyes to see them. In the modern world, many believe that happiness comes from having more. Yet, again and again, we can see that joy is often found in less. It is found in the simple rhythm of a day lived with care, not in the endless search for something new. The beauty of simplicity is available to everyone. It does not depend on wealth, age, or status. It grows naturally when we learn to rest with what we already have, and when we stop running after what we do not need. In this way, simplicity becomes a doorway to a more joyful life. When our days are too full, life begins to feel like a crowded room with no air. Every task, every duty, and every plan pushes against the others until there is no space left. In such a room, even the most beautiful things cannot be enjoyed because there is no room to breathe. By choosing to do less, we gently open the windows of our life and invite fresh air inside. Doing less does not mean living without purpose. It means giving each part of life the space it needs to be seen and felt. When we remove what is unnecessary, time begins to stretch, and the day no longer feels like a race. We discover that there is enough room to rest, to notice, and to enjoy the present, without rushing toward the next demand. With this new space, our minds also become clearer. Many of us carry not only full schedules, but also full thoughts, lists, worries, and expectations that press against us. When we allow ourselves to do less, we also allow our thoughts to settle. The mind becomes like a calm lake, where reflections can be seen clearly. In this calm, creative ideas can arise, and understanding can grow naturally. This space also welcomes kindness. When life is too full, we often react with impatience. But when we give ourselves more room, we can meet situations and people with gentleness. We begin to see that space is not empty at all. It is full of possibilities, full of life, full of quiet joy waiting to be noticed. By doing less, we are not losing. We are gaining the space to breathe, to see, and to live in a way that feels both lighter and more complete. In a world that celebrates speed, slowing down may feel unnatural. We are taught from a young age that faster is better, that quick results mean success. But life is not a race, and the deepest form of rest is discovered when we allow ourselves to move with slowness. Slowness does not mean laziness. It means giving each action the time it deserves. When we walk slowly, we notice the ground under our feet. When we eat slowly, we taste the food more fully. When we speak slowly, our words carry more care and more weight. This slowness allows the heart and body to rest, even while we are still living our ordinary day. Rest is not only found in sleep. True rest happens when we are no longer pushed by the pressure to be quick. The nervous energy that usually drives us begins to soften, and in that softness, the body can heal and the mind can breathe. Slowness is like a soft blanket over the spirit, protecting it from the sharp edges of hurry. There is also a quiet dignity in moving slowly. We begin to see that we do not need to rush to prove our worth. Life itself has a natural rhythm, like the turning of the seasons or the flow of a river. When we move in harmony with that rhythm, we discover that the world does not leave us behind. Instead, it holds us gently, and we find peace in the journey. To live with slowness is to give ourselves the gift of deep rest. It is a way of saying that our life is not measured by how fast we move, but by how fully we live each moment that is given to us. Silence is often misunderstood. Many people think of it as empty, as if nothing is happening. But silence is not the absence of life. It is the presence of something deeper, something that speaks without words. When we allow silence into our days, we discover that it has a gentle but powerful influence. In silence, we begin to hear what is usually hidden: the soft sound of wind, the rhythm of our own breath, or the quiet feelings in our hearts. These are often covered by noise and activity. Silence gives them space to appear, and when they do, they bring us closer to the truth of our own life. Silence also has the power to calm. When we are surrounded by constant voices, screens, and demands, our minds become restless. Yet in even a few minutes of silence, this restlessness begins to soften. The thoughts that once seemed so urgent lose their sharpness, and the heart feels lighter. In this way, silence is like cool water poured over fire. There is also a power in sharing silence with others. Sitting together without speaking can create a connection that words cannot reach. In silence, we are not trying to impress, to explain, or to argue. We are simply present, and in that presence, we find understanding and peace. The power of silence is subtle, but it can change the way we live. It teaches us that we do not always need to fill the air with sound or the day with tasks. By welcoming silence, we welcome a deeper kind of strength, one that does not shout, but gently guides us toward a quieter, more joyful life. Life often slips through our hands because we are always moving toward the next thing. We finish one task while already thinking of another, and in this way, the present moment becomes almost invisible. Gentle awareness means turning back to the moment we are in and treating it with care, as if it were something fragile and precious. This kind of awareness is not hard or forced. It is soft and welcoming, like opening a window to let fresh air enter. When we live with gentle awareness, we begin to notice details that were always there but unseen. The sound of a bird outside, the warmth of a cup in our hands, the feeling of sunlight across the skin. These small things become signs that life is quietly supporting us. Gentle awareness also changes the way we act. When we are aware, even simple tasks gain meaning. Washing a dish is no longer only cleaning, it is also the touch of water, the smooth surface of glass, the rhythm of movement. Walking across a room is no longer only a step, it is also balance, breath, and motion. In this way, daily life becomes richer without adding anything new. Living with gentle awareness also softens our hearts toward others. When we are truly present, we listen more deeply and we see people more clearly. Their joys and struggles appear more real to us, and our responses become kinder. Gentle awareness of each moment is a simple practice, but it carries quiet strength. It reminds us that our lives are not made only of great events, but of countless small moments. When we are awake to them, each one becomes a doorway to peace and joy. When our lives are crowded with tasks and duties, the people around us often receive only the leftover pieces of our time and energy. We may sit together, but our minds are already racing ahead to the next responsibility. In this way, our relationships become thin, as if they are stretched too far. By doing less, we open the door to give more of ourselves to those we love. Doing less creates time that is unhurried. It allows us to listen without checking the clock, to share without rushing, to simply sit together without the need to achieve anything. These moments of calm presence may look small, but they build strong roots in a relationship. Just as plants grow, not only from sunlight, but also from steady water, relationships grow through steady, gentle attention. When we are not overwhelmed, we also become more patient. Instead of reacting quickly with irritation, we can pause, breathe, and respond with kindness. A lighter schedule gives us the emotional room to meet others as they are, without expecting them to fit into our hurried pace. This patience becomes a gift that deepens trust and understanding. Doing less also helps us see the value of what is already in front of us. We may realize that a simple conversation, a shared meal, or quiet time together carries more meaning than any grand event. The relationships we already have begin to feel like treasures, not things to take for granted. By choosing to do less, we are not losing connection with the world. We are strengthening the connections that matter most. In these relationships, nourished by time and presence, we find the kind of joy that lasts far longer than any achievement or possession. Our inner world and our outer life are never truly separate. What we carry inside our hearts quietly shapes the way we see and respond to everything around us. If our minds are restless and crowded, even small challenges can feel overwhelming. But when we discover peace within, the same challenges appear lighter, and life outside begins to reflect that calm. Inner peace is like the still surface of a pond. When it is calm, it mirrors the world clearly. When it is disturbed, the reflection is broken, and even beautiful things seem unclear. In the same way, our outer life often becomes a mirror of our inner state. If we are always pushing ourselves to do more, the world seems harsh and demanding. If we allow ourselves to rest in peace, the world feels softer and more welcoming. This connection shows itself in daily interactions. A peaceful heart speaks gently, listens more fully, and meets others without judgment. Such qualities naturally shape our outer life, making our homes, workplaces, and communities feel more harmonious. We may think we are only changing ourselves, but in truth, this inner calm radiates outward and touches the lives of those around us. Doing less is one path to this inner peace. By setting down the heavy load of unnecessary tasks, we create space for quiet and balance within. From that inner balance, our outer life begins to change, not through force, but through natural reflection. The connection between inner peace and outer life is a circle. Each influences the other. When we nurture peace within, our actions outside become gentler. And when we live more gently in the world, it nourishes the peace inside. In this circle, we find a steady source of joy. Many people believe that freedom comes from doing whatever we want, whenever we want. Yet often, this endless freedom of choice only creates more weight. We fill our days with too many options, too many duties, too many promises, until our time no longer feels like our own. True freedom begins not with doing more, but with learning the art of doing less. Doing less frees us from the chains of constant obligation. When we let go of what is unnecessary, we discover that we have more room to breathe and more time to live in a way that feels natural. Freedom is not found in adding more activities, but in removing the pressure to be everywhere and to do everything. This freedom also opens the heart. When we are not pulled in 100 directions, we can choose with greater clarity. We see which actions truly reflect our values and which ones we only accepted out of habit or fear. Doing less allows us to say yes with honesty and no with kindness. In this way, our lives become lighter and our choices become real expressions of who we are. Freedom is also found in the courage to be still. The world may expect us to be constantly active, but when we stop, we see that we have not lost anything. Instead, we have gained the chance to notice life unfolding around us. A simple day, lived without rush, can feel more free than a schedule filled with endless options. The art of doing less is not about shrinking life. It is about opening it. By doing less, we step out of the prison of busyness and into the wide open space of freedom, where joy can naturally arise. When we look back at the path of doing less, we see that it is not about giving up life, but about opening life more fully. By putting down what is heavy and unnecessary, we begin to notice the quiet joys that were always near us. Joy does not come from constant striving. It comes from the gentle rhythm of living simply, with space to breathe and time to care. Doing less teaches us that life does not need to be complicated in order to be meaningful. The smile of a loved one, the sound of morning birds, the stillness of evening, these are not small or unimportant. They are the heart of life itself. When we give them our attention, we find that joy has been with us all along, waiting for us to slow down enough to see it. Gratitude also naturally grows when we live in this way. By releasing the rush for more, we begin to feel thankful for what is already here. Gratitude makes even ordinary moments shine with meaning, and it softens the heart so that joy can flow more freely. As I close these reflections, I wish to express my gratitude to you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the kindness you have shown through your support. For those who have offered a like, a subscription, a comment, a super thanks or membership, please know that your generosity is felt deeply. Your presence and your care give life to these words, and for that I bow with respect and appreciation. May the path of doing less bring you lightness, peace, and a joy that endures.